All right, it's talk time, and it's time to talk Ondo election post-mortem, if you like. So joining us right now is the PDP Deputy National Chairman of the Alimodu Sheriff faction. He said he's not a factional chairman, but anyway, that's what my producer says. His name is Cairo.
No, please tell him to edit it properly.
Many thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast this morning. We appreciate your time. So let's just ask you, for the jugular now. Why did you lose the election in Ondo State?
Because Alimodu Sheriff decided to obey court order. In May, it's precisely between the 18th and the 20th of May, a court in Lagos said that PDP should not hold a national convention. Alimodu Sheriff obeyed, and that's how he became a victim. And that has led to a series of events leading us to where we are here. If the party obeyed, if the so-called National Caretaker Committee, the illegal National Caretaker Committee, did not go ahead to disobey court order, we will not be where we are here. Since that May 23rd, since May 21st, this year, we have participated in 3 elections in this country. 1, the senatorial election in Imo State, we lost. 2, the election in Edo State, the gubernatorial election in Edo State, we lost. 3, the election in Ondo, we lost. What is the cause? The Caretaker Committee. Let these people disband. Let us go back and run our party the way it is. And that's all Nigerians are asking.
So you don't see your faction, yourself, your group as a clog in the wheel of development of the party?
No, not at all.
Really?
No. Because the 80% of the Nigerian populace, 80% of the party faithfuls in the field, they believe in us, and they know that it is through Alimodu Sheriff that they can get justice. Look, I don't care what people say about Alimodu Sheriff. Whether he's a good man or a bad man, that is not the issue. The issue is this: who represents the interests of the people? The issue is this: who obeyed the rule of law? Who obeyed the courts? The issue is this: who personifies impunity? The governors and the Caretaker Committee.
All right, Dr.
And that is what we have been saying all these days.
Yeah, Dr. Jubo, we'll come back to this. Let's now have another PDP chieftain, John Dara, joining us from our Abuja studio. He was a one-time presidential aspirant in Nigeria. It's good to have you join us right now, John. Welcome on the program. Now, we have seen our guest in the studio here just enumerated some of the elections that were contested and lost in this year so far, the PDP. Now, the issues within the national leadership at the party is taking its toll on the ability to win election at all the elections so far conducted. What is your take on this?
Well, Dr. Cairo's position is a clear reflection of the kind of posturings and claims and counterclaims that have continued to undermine efforts to reconcile the contradictions within PDP. The truth is that Sheriff faction no longer represents the mainstream thinking in PDP. That notwithstanding, it is correct to say that the problem was not caused by Sheriff. Sheriff was brought into this drama through the impunity of the governors. Now, but it's not correct, like Dr. Cairo is trying to paint, that they have been the good boys obeying court orders and the other groups have been the bad boys disobeying court order. In actual fact, the court order that he was referring to was sponsored by Sheriff. So Sheriff sponsored a case so that he will have an excuse to discontinue the convention in Port Harcourt because he knew that the table was turning against him. And so really, PDP crisis is not about bad boys, good boys, angels, devils. No, it's about people who are used to shenanigans and drama and posturing as politics instead of common sense, reasonable negotiation, coming together to resolve problems that are really, school children could resolve them if they were sincere. But it's the lack of sincerity that has continued to make the problem to get complicated.
And with this now, it seemed like John, it seemed like the leaders in PDP are ready to become illogical, even at the expense of the political party they have spent so much time and energy and attention to build over the years.
Well, I tell you this, that all politicians tend to learn only when things have become almost too late or get too complicated. The tendency is to think, oh, I can outsmart the other party. I can get the law to speak in my favor. It's not about morality. It's not about right or wrong. It's about just winning at the expense of the other party. But the truth is that the big loser in all this drama is PDP itself. And my position, and is still the voice of reason within the party, that is that we can solve these problems. Politics is a game of possibilities. We can all come together and be reasonable and solve this problem. Otherwise, we will all be losers.
All right, Cairo. I know you're itching though. Let's try and couch it so we don't have it.
Thank you very much.
Chaos in the studio.
John, good morning. John is my friend.
Okay. I don't want to sound personal. He too has been a victim all along since 1998. He was supposed to be the first governor of Kwara State. He was not only shortchanged, he was rigged out. Events after events and after event. And this is his position. That is why he's speaking like this. This has been his position. I have told him that, look, there is no way you solve a problem without taking out the root of the problem. He has said it himself. His position you can see very clearly. But you see, I'm sorry to say so. The position of most members like him is that they must look at the side where the governors claim to be, one or two governors, where they claim to be, and feel that that is where the party is. It is, I'm sorry to say so, it is very strong, it is very wrong, John. That is not, in his state, Kwara, take it for instance. The PDP is divided right at the middle. And the side with Sheriff, they are the bigger side, but they don't have money. And that's why if you go to Kwara now to do election, if they claim that they win, they cannot win the election at the general election. But if you give the masses the opportunity to be where they want to be, the PDP will rise again. And look at John speaking this way, I'm very surprised. This is a man that actually should, from the way he started, you heard what he said. He said, one, that Sheriff went to get court judgment for himself because he saw he's losing out, which is not correct. What actually happened is that there was a court judgment sometime in April by the National Working Committee members who said that, look, and that judgment is by Justice Mohammed. That judgment says that the tenure of the caretaker committee, that it ends in 2018. That judgment has not been appealed. That judgment says the National Working Committee of the party is life and is life. And that is the position. Whether you like it or not, that is what the law says. And that is what is before the Court of Appeal. And let me make this very clear. If the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, they say Sheriff is wrong, then nobody in Nigeria, I beg to say, let me not say so, then it will be foolhardy of anybody to obey law courts and judgments.
All right, but
all Sheriff did was to obey the judgment of Mohammed J. Mohammed J said, look, don't conduct any election because the National Working Committee, their tenure does not end on 2018. Okay. It's not Sheriff. Sheriff was not on that judgment.
All right, we'll come back
Thank
to
you
this.
very
Let's
much.
go on a break and we come back to discuss more on the fallout of the Ondo governorship election that PDP lost. Stay with us.
All right, it's still the postmortem of the Ondo election, how PDP lost that election. And we have with us in the studio the Deputy National Chairman, Dr. Cairo Jugbo. And in Abuja, right there is John Dara, who was a presidential candidate at some point in Nigeria. So really, you made mention that you, or according to John, you are the good boys, you obey court orders. And just before the election, the court ruled that Jegede should be swapped for Jimo Ibrahim. You obeyed, right?
Very well.
Okay, fine, in principle. But your candidate went on Twitter that same day, that's the day before the election, and said, let me read what he said. I can see hashtag Ondo love Akeredolu everywhere. Why won't the people of Ondo love Akite? He is a consistent politician with first-class integrity. My question is, does this constitute into anti-party activity? Just a day to the election for the candidate who the court said should step down for another candidate. In the spirit of obeying court order, come out and make such a statement in support of the opposition.
I don't want to be his lawyer, or I don't want to.
He's your candidate.
Yes, he's my candidate. But let me see. First of all, you know this Twitter thing. When you read all the at times today, they say this one, you tweet up, you tweet right, and you don't even know what is true. I have not seen him. I have not discussed it with him. And I cannot say if it is true whether he said this or not. You know this Twitter thing. When you read all the at times today, they say this one, you tweet up, you tweet right, and you don't even know what is true. I have not seen him. I have not discussed it with him. And I cannot say if it is true whether he said this or not. Because at times they say, what's his name, Fanik Kayode said this. Later on they will say he didn't say that. You know, so I don't want to believe that. Until we hold a meeting, we will invite him. And if it is true, then we'll know the party will do what is necessary, if he did say so. But let me tell you, immediately after the court judgment, we met, the NWC met, and I was delegated to issue a statement that everybody in Ondo, all PDP members, including whether PDP or not, everybody, please go and vote for PDP. We're mindful of the fact that Amechi had become governor without even contesting the election. We're also mindful of the fact that PDP is the owner of the ticket. And as party-loving members, we encourage everybody, and that's what we did, in obedience to the court order. When we know exactly that the appeal court never ordered INEC to change the name of Jimo. The Court of Appeal was very clear. It said, look, we have given our judgment. However, we cannot order INEC to replace your name because you didn't ask for it. Say, we are not Father Christmas. We cannot give you what you didn't ask for. So it was very surprising when INEC changed the name of Jimo. And you know, not everybody, you know, we are of different constituencies and different understanding and different maturity and different gift. Naturally, as a politician and as a party-loving member, you are not supposed to say some of these things. If he says so, I mean, the party will look into it and address it.
Let me bring in John here. Now, let's narrow down to the specifics of Ondo State. You have the incumbent governor there who is a member of your party, and it was expected in the minds of so many people that he will find a successor to continue in the ideology, continue in the dream of keeping the party flag alive in Ondo State. But you couldn't really do that as far as the party is concerned. But if we have to narrow it down to Ondo State, what really happened that PDP didn't win the election in Ondo State, John?
Thank you.
Well, the Ondo State fiasco was a disaster waiting to happen.
Thank you.
When Mimiko himself was aspiring to be governor within PDP, there were so many unconstitutional obstacles and undemocratic obstacles erected to obstruct Mimiko. The then President Obasanjo, who was part of the problem of PDP, weighed in heavily against Mimiko, insulting him in public. Mimiko, out of frustration, left for Labour Party. But because the people of Ondo State preferred him, he won the general elections. But he did not learn from the lessons, because he himself became overbearing as a governor. Shola Oke was the legal advisor, national legal advisor of our party. It is under Mimiko's watch that people like that left in frustration, because a level playing ground was never provided in the primaries. You now see what Shola scored. If Shola's vote had been married with Jegede's vote, hypothetically, of course PDP would still have won. So the loss of PDP is not just about Sheriff alone. Sheriff was the immediate cause. But in my opinion, the problem was beyond that. It's the culture of impunity, the lack of internal democracy. Even in the emergence of Jegede, there are many aggrieved PDP members who felt they were run out of time. Olu Aguloye used to be in PDP. Olu Aguloye followed Mimiko to Labour. They were very close friends, but some people are also have a fixation about position. Once you think you cannot get the ticket, you go elsewhere. This is not what democracy is all about. It's about collective commitment to a cause. Now, the PDP vision had been compromised long ago, and many people just think it's a scrambling for position without principle. The consequence of that is that Ondo is a manifestation of what happens to a party that is not guided by vision and principle. Exactly. Let me say this. After losing the general election in 2015, Ekweremadu led a committee that gave a beautiful report highlighting all the issues I'm trying to raise here. And instead of learning from it, the governors carried on as if it was business as usual.
What is my book?
Mimiko was chairman of the governors forum. So he cannot exonerate himself from the mess we are in. So that's why I said it's not about, oh, blame Sheriff, blame the governors, blame this. Okay, let's start by saying we all made some mistakes in the past. Let common sense prevail. Let's come together. Unfortunately, it is McCarthy-led mainstream group that is now making efforts to re-engineer the party, as many of us had been, some of us had been advocating in the past. Hopefully, something will come out of that. But I believe that it will not really work for PDP unless Madu Sheriff group is fully accommodated in that process. This is why I say it's not yet Uhuru. This crisis will continue for a long time, and only God knows what the end will be.
Okay, another quick question to you, Mr. Dara. The issue of performance, even if there wasn't any court case, do you think the governor at PDP would have won that election with the debt profile? As at the end of 2015, the internal debt profile that Ondo State has was about 26.6 billion naira. The external debt, according to Ondo State, as at June this year, is $51.7 million. With that kind of abysmal performance and the level of poverty, according to Olushola Oke, is very high, skyrocketing in Ondo State. Do you think PDP will have done any better even without the court brouhaha?
Yeah, PDP stood a good chance of winning that election if PDP was not in crisis, if it was not factionalized. Let's face it, most of the elections here are not determined by issues. They're not even determined by the quality of the candidate. The most powerful factors is incumbency. The incumbency of President Buhari has worked in favor of Akeredolu, but all politics is local. The incumbency of Mimiko will have worked more and will have prevailed if PDP was united, because the issue of the debt overhang could have been explained. It's possible the civil servants could have been persuaded. In spite of all that has happened, PDP scored quite high. In spite of all that has happened, Akeredolu won with much less than 50% of the votes. You'll see that the combined votes of Oke and Jegede would have been much more than that of Akeredolu. The implication of this is that the electorate is not really sophisticated enough to say, oh, these are the issues that will make or mar. What they were more focused on was incumbency and patronage. On the day of election, we cannot even say that Akeredolu won just because of the APC incumbency at the national level. Akeredolu's camp spent so much money, 5,000 naira per voter. It was unprecedented, in my opinion. And
doesn't that underscore the level of poverty in the state?
To be buying votes.
John, doesn't that underscore the level of poverty in the state, then, that people are willing to sell their vote, if that allegation is correct, that people are willing to sell their vote just to have a meal a day?
Vote selling is never a product of poverty. It's a product of lack of political awareness. Look, Kano State, the masses in Kano State have always been shortchanged and poor. But from the days of Aminu Kano, that is one state where you can buy their votes. The people will vote according to their conviction. And Ondo is expected to be an enlightened, relatively enlightened state, but in spite of that, they succumb to vote buying.
All right, John.
Very potent.
All right, John, we'll come back to you on this. Cairo has a lot to say when it comes to all of these, but we'll come back to this. Let's take a break and we'll continue on the program. Stay with us.
Thank you.
All right, if you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast. We are discussing the fallout of Ondo election from the window of PDP that was hoping, everyone hoped that being the incumbent party would have won the election, but they did not. And we're looking at what really went down in Ondo State. We have in the studio the Deputy National Chairman of the PDP, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, and in our Abuja studio we have John Dara. He is a party chieftain and former presidential aspirant in the party. You had some reaction when John was making his statement.
First of all, let me thank John for speaking the truth to a very reasonable extent about the causes of our losses in both Ondo and Edo states. Now, take Ondo State specifically.
Yeah.
The issue can be subdivided into two: internally within Ondo and externally outside Ondo. Okay. Let us take the external first. Yes, the incumbency factor with the presidency Buhari. The 2015 general election has shown that theory is not too correct, because we had 10 states in the north. And we had, in these 10 states, we had 10 state PDP states in the north that we had governors who were sitting and incumbent. I'll name these states, if I remember them very well. Taraba, Jigawa, Benue, Plateau, Kaduna, Kebbi, 10 of them, 10 states. Niger, exactly. You know, most of these states, the governors could not vote. They couldn't even go and cast their vote because the people said no, because they brought their surrogates. So we had a president. We were controlling we were controlling at the national level. So that federal incumbency factor didn't work. We got it wrong there because we allowed the governors to behave and they did as they wished. And of course the people said no. I give you another example. Then let us go to the local side, the Ondo State. In Ondo State, the McAfee faction conducted a congress for the governorship position. In that congress, only one candidate, is it possible for a Yoruba state, knowing Yoruba people, very enlightened. You know that they are very, very, the people said no because they brought their surrogates. So we had a president. We were controlling we were controlling at the national level. So that federal incumbency factor didn't work. We got it wrong there because we allowed the governors to behave and they did as they wished. And of course the people said no. I give you another example. Then let us go to the local side, the Ondo State. In Ondo State, the McAfee faction conducted a congress for the governorship position. In that congress, only one candidate. Is it possible for a Yoruba state, knowing Yoruba people, very enlightened? You know that they are very, very sensitive to things like that. The commissioner, especially one called Ebisami, who was very well qualified, who would have done very well. And that commissioner is not from the same zone from where Miko comes from where Jegede comes from. Because Jegede is from the Akure zone, where Akure Ondo, where Mimiko also comes from. Now, ideally, the people wanted the governor to either go to, especially to the north, where Akure Doli comes from, the Owo side, or to the riverine area, the Jos-speaking area in the south. But of course, the Mimiko people, the McAfee people, being what they are, impunity, they want to impose, they want to behave as they like. So they chose a candidate from there. You know, the people are very, they always wait. It happened in Lagos here some time ago when SDP were fooling around. You saw the result. So the issue also happened exactly like that. Now, when Mimiko came back to PDP, one would have expected that this man has been a victim too of this impunity. One would have expected that, look, the recent history, you will learn from it. He did not. The people he met on the ground, led by just like he said, in our press conference we said too, we tabulated the result. All of them, they left the party.
Okay.
And because of that, we were not expecting anything too much out of it. The issue of Sheriff, in fact, the only thing that would have saved the situation, they didn't allow us. And may God touch their heart so that these people can listen to what we are saying. And it is wrong to say the mainstream PDP. That a governor is ready to use the people's money.
On the overall, there's some level of impunity which shouldn't be. From what you have said and what John has said.
It is impunity, that is the problem.
Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's bring in Foladele in here to give us a reaction on social media. Fola, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Busalami. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning.
So much drama leading up to this one. And it seemed like everyone, or a lot of people kind of knew who would, win. And of course, how elections can be unpredictable. Then the guy who people didn't think would win, I guess, won. And so let's see how people are reacting to this one. Let's see what people are saying about this. Taiwo Faramadi says, disloyalty among party members of Ondo's PDP caused them to concede in the just concluded Ondo state election. God bless Nigeria. Alujanjan Kijan says, APC Nigeria should not be fooled with the Ondo state election. People voted for the candidate and not the party, just as we goofed in 2015. Odu Solusheyi says PDP have suffered another setback at just concluded Ondo state election. Can a divided party truly win a free and fair election? Goodhead says, from Ondo state election, I've learned PDP win elections mostly in volatile states, while APC conquer in violence-free states. Mr. Malcolm says, but someone from Ondo State, INEC, ought to have resigned because, like it or not, Jagede was disenfranchised because of INEC's substitution. And Dr. Effa says, Ondo State people were really angry with Mimiko. Even if Jimo had not derailed Jagede's campaign, little would have changed. And the last one here from Odomati says, I thought some Ondo citizens were protesting, saying it is Jagede the state wanted. Why didn't they vote him? Ondo decides. Now going back, going back to the tweet before the last one, they said, do you think that this was a lost battle from the start? Do you think that whether it was Jagede or Jimo, people didn't like Mimiko's performance and so that had an influence on PDP not coming in again?
No, God is building a platform for Nigeria. God is building a revival and resurgence of multi-party democracy in Nigeria. Let me tell you, 5 years ago, I might not have had the courage to sit down here telling you what I'm telling you about the governors and about PDP. The president then would have sanctioned me. But today, we have the God-given opportunity to be able to speak our mind. Look, in politics, you also have to be very, very careful. You understand where I'm coming from? Because you can say a lot of things, one or two, you speak the truth most times, then it is not exactly what your leaders want you to talk about. And the field is now clear for us to sit down and then discuss the issue as they come and then address it. Look, and believe me, it is very easy to win the general election in 2019. The PDP is well structured for it as it is today. But on one ground, this impunity must be addressed. McAfee and his group, they must disband immediately. Let us go back to where the court said stop. And then we will re-engineer the party. Everybody will come back. You go to your state, you go to where you come from. Today, I have a structure in my state. I'm not a television politician. I'm not an Abuja politician. I'm a grassroots man. My popularity is tested in where I come from, and that is what I believe in. And then I am able to talk to my people. They know that I will not lie. If I keep quiet, that does not mean that. If
you talk about the McAfee faction disbanding, they also have a court case. Exactly, Ali Modu Sharif, and all, they all have a court pronouncement on both of them. But so how do we reconcile that?
No, you see, our own case is very clear. Let me, you see.
Anyway, Folale.
I wish we had more time. Yeah, okay.
I wish there were more time.
Yes, I really wish, but thank you.
Right. Carol, let me put you on hold. Yeah. Dara, let me bring you back on. We don't have all the time, but moving ahead, we know that there are some elections pending before 2019. We have the rerun parliamentary election coming up in Rivers State. We have Ekiti State governorship election. We have Osun State governorship, and these are going to come before the 2019 general election, as the case may be. What will be the position of PDP going into all of these elections from the mistakes you have said, and even Carol here has alluded to, the mistakes you have made in the past 3 or 4 elections in the past?
Thank you very much. PDP has been defeating PDP in all the previous elections. APC does not stand any chance.
Exactly.
Because the present government is obviously not working, it's not effective. They appear like amateurs in government. But the reality is that unless PDP is rebuilt from the scratch, be engineered, the posture that McAfee faction should disband, Sheriff faction should disband, will not take the PDP anywhere. The reality is that we all have to come together again and really re-engineer our party. Then we can have that winning team again. The Senate president is PDP. I mean, is former PDP. The speaker is former PDP. Almost everybody that matter in APC are former PDP. Let's all come together, and they love this platform because it was a really efficient machine we built, but we compromise our values. If we regain that original vision, value-driven, we will become, we will return to our winning ways again.
All right, be careful what you wish for, really, Cairo. If we go by what John said, now be careful what you wish for. Seeing the Senate president back to PDP, would you welcome him with an open arm?
Oh, very good, very well. But let me tell you what is most disturbing. You see, politics is a game of intrigues. A lot of people in PDP, just like he's saying, believe, Saraki will come back, Dogara will come back, this one. Look, you see, they can lure you into these arrangements that they want to come back. No, it is not these individuals that actually, they are just, if we were to say, okay, actually it is one man, one vote. So what happens? What do we need to do in PDP? Return the party to the people. Allow free and fair congresses in the world, local government, and state levels. Once you do that, and then let the people choose who they want. Especially look, you can mess around in the South, but you cannot mess around in the North. He said so, in Kano, in Katsina. In Jigawa State, the immediate past governor could not vote. I'm telling you this, go and check in the last election. That is how difficult these things can be. In Kano, you can't go and mess around and start fully where they don't want you. You can't force yourself into them.
All right.
So, but 1 minute, just 2 minutes. Let me, because I might not have this opportunity. You can cut me off.
But we don't have all the time.
I want to comment. Okay. Yes, I want to comment and commend TVC.
Thank you.
This studio, I have never seen. I don't believe there's any type of it in Africa. It is better than even CNN studio. I'm very surprised to see that this place is in Nigeria. I want to say that God bless whoever has this business interest.
And then, God bless Nigeria.
And I'm very impressed to be here.
Thank you.
And that this is something outstanding.
Thank you very much.
If people, I don't support illegal, and let me also say this for myself. I have been in government once or twice. I have served. I've never been in a position to award contract or begin contract. I have never given bribe and I have never taken. I'm a businessman, a medical doctor by profession. Yeah. Whatever anybody wants to say, the truth is before me and my God.
All right.
I want to praise this business. I want to praise this establishment.
Thank you.
I am quite impressed.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cairo Ojukwu, for joining us on the program today. We look forward to having more of you on the programs here.
Thank you.
And we thank you, John Dara, for spending your morning with us on the program as well. And we wish you all well in your political party and in buttressing the democracy in Nigeria. Thank you for coming, gentlemen.
Thank you.
This is where we draw the curtains on the program today, and certainly...
Why are you smiling?
We've come to the end of today's program. Tomorrow will be another time for us to dwell on other issues that concern you and concern all Nigerians. I am Mike Okwoche. You can also follow me on my Twitter handle at @MOkwocheTVC. Bye for now.
All right, my name is Busola Mituashi. Many thanks for your time, and bye for now.